If you've ever spoken English and felt like something just didn't sound right, even though the words were technically correct, this video is for you. We're going to talk about why your English might sound awkward and exactly how to fix it. It's not about perfect grammar or big vocabulary. It's about how natural you sound when you speak. And believe me, you can sound natural, even if your English is still improving. Before we begin, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, ring the bell, and stay with us every day. We post English lessons that are made to help you not just understand English, but use it in real life. Now let's talk about awkward English and how to make your speech smoother, more confident, and more real. When I first started using English, I thought I was doing great. I memorized full sentences from books. I practiced grammar rules. I even knew a lot of fancy words. But whenever I opened my mouth, native speakers would look confused. Or they'd answer in a way that showed they didn't quite understand what I meant. Sometimes they'd smile politely and change the subject. I could feel it. My English was correct, but it wasn't natural. It didn't flow. It felt awkward. I was saying the right thing in the wrong way. That's when I realized something important. Fluency isn't about sounding smart. It's about sounding human. When you speak English, you don't want to sound like a robot reading a textbook. You want to sound like a real person. That means learning the rhythm, the tone, the little phrases that make English feel alive. And once I understood that, everything changed. Let's start with the most common reason English sounds awkward: translating from your first language. This is what most learners do without even realizing it. They think of the sentence in their language, then try to say it in English. But the structure, the tone, and the feeling often don't match. The words might be right, but the vibe is wrong. That's what creates that weird, uncomfortable sound. It's not your fault. It's just how the brain works when it doesn't have enough English exposure yet. So how do you fix it? You start thinking in English, not translating thinking. That sounds difficult, but it's not. You begin with small things. Describe what you're doing as you do it. Say to yourself, "I'm making tea," or "I'm walking to the kitchen." These short, clear sentences help your brain get used to building thoughts in English. And when your brain starts working in English, your speaking becomes smoother, faster, and more natural. Another thing that makes English sound awkward is using words that are too formal or too stiff. For example, you might say, "I am feeling very joyful today," when most people would just say, "I'm so happy." Or you might say, "I did not go to the market because I was feeling unwell," when it's much more natural to say, "I didn't go to the store. I wasn't feeling good." The difference is tone. Natural English uses contractions, simple verbs, and short phrases. That doesn't mean you should avoid advanced words. It just means you should use them when they actually match the situation. When I started changing the way I spoke, I didn't learn new words first. I paid attention to how native speakers actually talked. I listened carefully, not just to what they said, but how they said it. The pauses, the rhythm, the words they skipped, the way their tone changed. And then I copied them. Not just the words, the voice. This changed everything. One technique that helped me a lot was shadowing. I would listen to short clips in English and repeat them immediately after, trying to match the speed and tone. At first, it was really hard. My mouth didn't move the right way. My timing was off. But I kept going. I did it every day just for a few minutes. And little by little, my English stopped sounding awkward. It started sounding like real English. Another thing that helped me was learning the small, everyday expressions that native speakers use. These are often not in textbooks. They're things like, you know what I mean, kind of, I guess, or to be honest. These short phrases give your English a natural flow. They're not always necessary, but they make your speech sound less mechanical and more real. When you start using these phrases, people don't just understand you, they feel connected to you. And that's what communication is really about. One more tip that made a big difference was learning to use my voice, not just my words.
What do I mean by that?
Well, in English, how you say something is just as important as what you say. Your tone, your stress, your rhythm, they all matter. If you say, I'm fine in a flat voice, it might sound like you're not fine at all. But if you say it with a relaxed tone, people believe you. This is part of what makes English feel alive. You can practice this by exaggerating your intonation when you practice speaking. Pretend you're acting in a movie. Make your voice go up and down. Stretch the sounds. Emphasize the important words. At first, it might feel strange, but over time, it becomes natural. And that's when your English starts to feel natural too. Let's also talk about confidence. Awkwardness isn't just about language. It's about how you feel when you speak. If you're nervous, if you're afraid of mistakes, if you're thinking too much about what others think, your English will sound tense. You might speak too slowly. You might hesitate. You might stop in the middle of your sentence. That's totally normal. But it makes your English feel less natural. Confidence comes from practice. From speaking even when you don't feel ready. From realizing that mistakes don't kill you. They teach you. Every time you speak and survive, your confidence grows. And the more confident you feel, the smoother your English sounds. One thing I did that helped my confidence was talking to myself. Not in my head, out loud. I would speak about my day, my thoughts, or even just describe things around me. No one was listening, so there was no pressure. But I was training my mouth. I was building fluency. And over time, I started sounding less awkward. I started sounding like me in English. It's also important to stop trying to sound perfect. Native speakers don't sound perfect. They make grammar mistakes. They repeat words. They say, and pause while thinking. That's part of real speech. If you try to speak perfect textbook English, you'll sound unnatural. But if you speak real English, even with small mistakes, you'll sound human. That's what people connect with. So here's what I want you to take away from this. If your English sounds awkward now, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're bad at English. It just means you haven't had enough real practice. You haven't had enough exposure to natural speech. And you haven't built enough confidence yet.
But you can.
Starting today.
Speak more.
Shadow more. Listen actively. Use your voice. And most of all, let yourself grow. Start with short, daily routines. Pick a short clip from this channel and shadow it. Then, talk about your day in English. Out loud. Not in your head. Do this every day. It doesn't take long, but it works. You'll feel awkward at first. That's part of the process. But keep going. Day by day, your English will start to sound more fluid, more expressive, and more like the English you hear from real speakers. And remember, you don't have to be a native speaker to sound natural. You just have to be a real speaker. Honest, clear, and expressive. That's what real English sounds like. Now it's your turn. Comment below and tell us, What's one English sentence that always feels awkward when you say it? Let's fix it together. And if this video helped you, send it to someone who needs it too. Like the video, subscribe, ring the bell, and don't forget, we post new English lessons every single day. Come back tomorrow and keep speaking out loud. You're not just learning, you're becoming fluent.